Matindo magitindo boda stage nanin negilelen na telelen iro. So ngalekab county government tam ngotebene kou stikait komamiten betut nekikeeshe. So komoche alenji gavana dakine en ele miten ngot koityi ngalechu konyo kibur ak sikobit kesopche ak echek kou biik alak. Kongoi mising.
Kongoi mising. Abacha akije iteshi ng'olyo kosubkei ak nito.
Kongoi mising. Konoto kekebuna Nicholas. En iman aba kora nyeketinye tabut chebunu echek en ireyu. Echek kiasololene sikesich chekiome en ireyu. Kokototeben kanyo ale ako kaban komemache keyai kasit en yu okobore kesom kasit kora ino mesire kora. Kokesirgei leba echek kele kechengyigei chekiome. Akanyo chorik Bomet, imwowon ata chorik kosir nyoowon ata biik chechenge en ireyu. Ara ibar cho, makecho kesaisait en ano. Makemelenon no bar cho sicham ikonech kasisiek en ireyu. Matakoim mebar cho kine. Katakemwoe komie. Yon kakemus kemuse ne. Mamatakesaisai. Nguno kerugutosi. Korumbe langat iwendi ak siyok kaa, okenyo mang'u subui ibore naache. Langat iwekse kora buch. Ilen tot bar ki beek cheto bar kikwonye kemwete lo. Tot kiome nany nguno. Lakwet korelen kwany bu. Tor kele yolenen. Molyo.
Pas, kainenyun kekurenon Amos Langat. Ayobu Transmara kianyon Bomet akobo kasini. Ko noton kisome kokewonatech oliponi kot ayokto iman chebo sabaenga lakini momi kasit osorwechwe ayobu Fuliza ayobu iman komostab Transmara ngweny olin amun kaikai Bomet amun ngebikenen yu kebetenwe kotor ko rabinik kwe bikyok kesome kele gavana nebo Bomet nyotoretech ine keyoyotwech orani amun niton ine sikesob ko niton oyotwech kabisa.
Kongoi mising. Amang'u ale ng'alek chekakong'alal kwensenyu ko choton keretab chitugul. Choton chakiaruse ko chemung'arainik chebo bodaboda chemiten en stageit nito kamwaun stage nekikuren depot. Miten oret niton newendi Tenwek ak Silibwet noton nemiten en taonitab Bomet nekekas kurset nekure ko gavana nebo Bomet noton ko Professor Hilary Barchok nebo koker kole kachutyi ak kotelel niton kakimwa kele mami chekiregu chito o mami chekimuti chito. Ko yan kakiyai kounon komasiche icheket boisiet. Noton kurset batile biikab bodaboda chemung'arainik choton bo bodaboda konamu department nebo administration en county nebo Bomet ndokonamgei eun ak choton ribikab kalyet chemiten en taonit nebo Bomet. Ko choton ko logoiwek chekamiten en nguni chakiaruse aweku soet sitestai ak logoiwek alak chemiten en studiosiek chebo Kass TV ak alen chitab kolenjin kikuro Festus Rono ak itestai iker Kass TV ngamun kimnotet naet.
Ketesetak tetutietab Kass Mashinani ko kebendi Senate ole kaimuch kochikili eng betutab rani gavana notok pa county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet Wesley Rotich kotinygei ak report notok koimang Auditor General akobo kenyitab mung'aret nebo kenyitab 2024 nebo county notok po Elgeyo Marakwet ak boisietab rabisiek eng county notok.
Okay. Governor, the issuance of documents, there are two things about it. Number one, it first of all affects the certificate that is raised by the auditor. And you often must take them very seriously because without proper documentation, it's certainly you're lucky that a qualified opinion is fair enough, but even then, it affects the certificate. But the most important thing here is that there is actually an offense on late or no submission of documents. The Public Audits Act, Section 62, clearly indicates that if you do not submit documents, and I hope the officers are listening here very carefully, there is penalty. It's 5 million, and actually a jail term also. Some of this committee has got the power to actually pronounce itself on it that can lead to prosecution. So it's not an issue of now you have honored the committee by availing documents. You dishonoring auditors and the audit general's office is more offensive to that office that you hold in the country than you honoring this house. So those two issues should be something that Governor will talk about time without number, that we should see a change on. If the chair is lenient enough not to raise any punishment on less submission of documents.
Yeah, actually, before accountant to respond. So accountant will respond, and then I will ask the lead officer to read out that section of law on late submission of documents.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I want to respond this way that due to the time of audit, we actually provided the stock take reports. I think the issue then was the issue of the formats of the report, but actually the report was there at that time, and we provided on time. Thank you, Chair.
But the auditor is saying you didn't provide at the time of audit. Is that the case, auditor?
Very correct. Indeed, when you have a stock list, you should have requisite support to indicate, for instance, even the documents which they have put here, the issue of stock take having taken place, the auditors ought to have been invited to come and attend to witness, to do an observation that the stock take is taking place. In this case, the auditors were not invited, and the documents which, when we went for audit, they were not reconciled between the stock take, the system-generated records, and the physical records. So there was no, the conclusion was we were not able to carry out our audit effectively because the documents provided were not in a format that we could be able to make decision on.
And you requested for the proper documents?
Yes, which were not provided during the time of audit.
I think moving forward, the auditor, just as an advice, I think you need to have a checklist of the things, the documents you need from the client. And then when they provide, you sign against it. Because you know, when you come in here, one party saying we provided, another party saying they did not provide. So it becomes very difficult for us to know where the problem is. Mark?
Maybe, Chair, maybe I can bring to the attention of the committee that before the audit we do what is called a letter of understanding. And in that letter we indicate all the documents that we require. That copy can be available just to show that these are some of the documents and records that we require for audit. Secondly, Chair, we also have the entry meeting where we also discuss that letter of understanding, and we indicate to the client the documents that we require. We then have, during the course of audit, these documents will be requested. Even at the exit meeting, there will still be a report indicating that this was not provided. And in addition to that, even as I recall the Auditor General indicated to this committee, there's another opportunity at the draft report where we tell the client, this is a report you're about to submit, what do you have to say? And in all those instances, Chair, the documents are not provided. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I will let the legal officer to read out the provision in law.
Okay, thank you, Chair. We begin with Section 9 of the Public Audit Act, that is the general powers of the Auditor General, subsection 1, paragraph E, which means that without prejudice to the powers given under the Constitution and this Act, and for the purposes of carrying out his or duties effectively, the Auditor General or an officer authorized for the purposes of this Act shall have powers, paragraph E, of unrestricted access to all books, records, returns, reports, electronic or otherwise, and other documents of entities listed under Article 22904 of the Constitution of the Audit, and any property or premises used or held by state organs or public entities covered by Article 2294 of the Constitution, and subject to the audit under this Act, provided that such access is reasonably necessary in the opinion of the Auditor General in carrying out his or her functions. And then we proceed, through Chair, to Section 47 on the time limit for submission of accounts, which reads that...
Auditor, I just want you to go to late submission of accounts. Don't have to read all those.
All right. That is under Section 62, through Chair, on the other offences, where it reads that subsection 1, paragraph D, and also paragraph C, which reads that a person shall not, without justification, fail to provide information within reasonable time that is required under this act, and then and also D, submit false or misleading information. And then the penalty under subsection 2 is that a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment to a term for a term not exceeding 3 years or both. Thank you, Chair.
So, can you give the mic to the accountant? Give the mic to the accountant. You have it. You are the one who was supposed to provide the information. Are you the one who was supposed to provide the information?
Yeah, a team from the hospital.
But which you are in charge?
Yes, Chair.
So, those three options that have been given, the first option is a fine of 5 million. Second option is imprisonment for 3 years. And third option is bond. Which one do you choose?
Yeah, Chair, none of the above, but you see, Chair, during the time of audit, actually, we submitted the required documents. But the issue then was the format of the report actually which we submitted. But the stock take was actually done, and we provided the information on the same.
The auditor said he keeps, he has, you said it's a letter of what?
We also, during audit, even during audit, there is a document we issue with all evidence tracking sheets, which would have indicated that we received that information, which is not received.
Yes, Mark.
Chair, I think the accountant ought to be sincere, because if he says the issue was the format, then that is what the query would read, that the format of the document provided was not within the required public sector accounting standard code.
Chair.
It seems not provided. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Senator Kisam.
You know, Chair, I thought by now the accountant should have known that, you know, as senators, the auditors is our partner. The Office of Auditor General is the expert that is helping the senators, and they are the ones who have done audit. And you know, before you come to this particular committee, the county government, basically, you should have worked very closely with the auditor, so that by the time you come here, you don't contradict what the auditor is, because as we believe what the auditors are telling us, not what you are telling us. So you should actually be apologizing instead of contradicting themselves here directly. And you know, basically, as we listen to the auditors, not you, because we are oversight. And Chair, I also want to tell him that in the next week, I'll also come to the hospital. I want to go around my sub-county and the Ribara hospitals under my chair, so that, you know, I can also, with my MCS, check these things. So, please, you know, we don't want embarrassment here.
Chair.
Chair, I think we need to remind the accountant, when he's addressing this committee, he's responding on behalf of the governor. And the governor has already taken an oath. So you should be aware of the consequences of whatever you are telling this committee.
Chair.
Yes, Senator Tobiko.
Chair, I think Senator Mbugua has captured what was in my mind. But Chair, even what is more serious is the way the accountant is smiling about the whole thing. Is it that he thinks this is a PR exercise that we are doing? Because he doesn't look serious. If you're telling him about the jail term and he's laughing.
Governor, say something.
Chair, Chair, I want to take this opportunity to say that the misunderstanding, I think, between the accountant, what the accountant is saying and what the auditor is saying seems to be in conflict.
and I want to say that we have envisaged these challenges in the recent past, and I want to say that there is a process that I have initiated in the county to automate all my hospitals and to ensure that such mistakes, because some of these mistakes are sometimes because people cannot generate these reports in a short period, we would want to automate these things so that a report can be produced even in minutes. And therefore, Chair, beginning next week, we have decided to automate my 131 health facilities, starting from the referral hospital. We have not to mean that we have not been automating the referral hospital, but we have had a system that has been limited. It was only doing the clinicals, and it wasn't handling the stock take area. And we want to have it as a stock taking to be a real time, to a level that when you are actually dispensing drugs, even at the doctor level and at the pharmacy level, is going to be real time, and it can be managing, helping me to restock. At the same time, when the auditor is calling for documents, it can't be something at the discretion of the accountant, but it can be something that can be generated. Even the auditor can be accessing those reports without necessarily even struggling to this level. And therefore, Chair, I want to say that this can be attributed to these long manual processes that I would want to automate, so that by the next time we are coming to this committee, we will have actually improved on this specific matter.
Yeah, we are coming to that automation issue, which is the second issue in that query. But on the first issue of late submission of documents, Governor, I think moving forward, you need to have a process internally in your county to manage the audit process, because the audit work should be taken very, very seriously. I think your people are taking this process very casually, and therefore you end up having queries which you ought not to have. So I think moving forward, you need to ensure that you have a mechanism in place where the audit process conducted by the Office of the Auditor General is taken very seriously by your officers. Because I will, because this is the first time you are appearing before us on the matter of hospitals, I will be lenient on the issue of late submission of documents. But the next meeting we are going to have, when we will be looking at 2024-2025 report, we will issue orders here for action to be taken against the officers who don't provide documents within the audit cycle. Remember, we are sitting here as we are equivalent to the High Court. So we can order arrest of any of the officers here under Section 62 of the Public Audit Act. So I think your staff need to take this matter seriously because the law is very clear and the law gives us powers to make recommendations. The auditor cannot make that recommendation, but us, we can make that recommendation, and we have Sergeant at Arm here who can arrest anyone here to comply with the law. So take this matter very seriously because in the next meeting, when we'll be considering this report for 2024-2025, there will be no excuse now that we have given this direction. The issue number 2, which is inherent in this query, is the issue of automation. And if you look at the reports, this query is related in many ways to the query on use of manual accounting and procurement system, which the auditor has raised as a concern. It is also related to the query on weak stock management, stock control management system. And all these is because of lack of automation. So, Governor, since you have indicated to this committee that you are in the process of automating all your hospitals, we will take your word on that and hope that in the next engagement we are going to have with you, you will be reporting that now the system is working and these issues which are related to lack of a system will not be there. So, honorable members, any comment on the issue of automation? Remember, it's related to the two other queries that I've mentioned. The weak stock control management system, the use of manual accounting, and the procurement system. They are all related to this first point. Senator Sienga?
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to declare interest. His Excellency is a friend. And I would only say that as he has promised, because I know he's a person who says and does what he says he will do. Please do the automation. Thank you.
That is a surprise friendship, because you are the ODM woman president, and the governor is you are
we are in broad-based.
Okay. You are in broad-based? Okay. Great. That was on a light touch. So, honorable members, I think on the issue of technology or use of automation, I think this is very key as well. Very important. Very important. And Senator, while you had stepped out, we have recommended that next time the governor comes, we should not be told about we are implemented. We should be told that the system is now working and the hospitals are fully automated.
And Senator from there can give free advice as an expert.
Yeah.
And even you as even you chair.
But that would be conflict of interest.
Free. I'm saying free.
Free advice.
Yes.
Okay. So, honorable members, this auditor, I do not want us to belabor on query number 2, but just read out the query as it is. Non-maintenance of an updated fixed asset register.
A review of the fixed assets. Non-maintenance of an updated fixed assets register. A review of the fixed assets register provided for audit revealed that the listed assets do not indicate asset identification and serial numbers, acquisition date, description of assets, location, class and cost of acquisition. In addition, the land and building do not record the parcels of land and the terms on which they are held, with reference to the conveyance, address, area, date of acquisition, disposal of major change in use, capital expenditure, leasehold terms, and maintenance contracts. Further, the assets were not coded or tagged for ease of identification and tracking, and they were not physically inspected on a regular basis to establish their conditions. There were no policies and procedures on assets management. In the circumstances, the accuracy, ownership, and valuation of property, plant, and equipment balance of page is 643,417,859 will not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
Thank you, Chair. The hospital management is currently in the process of reviewing and updating its fixed asset register to ensure that the updated register includes mandatory details, Chair, such as the identification, stock serial numbers, acquisition dates, item descriptions, locations, classes, and even costs, Chair, as you can see in Annex number 2A. Chair, specific details regarding land and buildings, such as the conveyance references, address areas, acquisition dates, leasehold terms, and maintenance contracts are also being documented. You can be able to see our title deed attached at the Annex 2B. To improve asset management, Chair, a coding and tagging system has been introduced for ease of identification and tracking. Physical inspections are being conducted to verify the existence and condition and appropriate usage of assets, as we can see in the pictorials in Annex 2C.
Chair, these initiatives will be completed by the establishment of a formal asset management policy and procedures, strengthening the accountability